We will continue now. So I want to give you the summary of all that the law of the church says with regard to the consecrated life. Then, time permitting, we will go through a number of documents also. First one, I want to distinguish between institutes of consecrated life and societies of apostolic life. Institutes of consecrated life and societies of apostolic life. So, ICL and SAL. Last year, we celebrated the year of consecrated life. Consecrated life. What do you mean by consecration? What? Absolute silence. What do you mean by consecration? How many are perpetually professed already here? Please raise your hands. Okay. Only few are yet to be perpetually professed. Doesn't matter. So, what do you mean by consecration?
Commitment to God.
Commitment to God through evangelical counsel. I am happy. You said commitment, okay, but also you included evangelical counsels. Am I a consecrated person? Huh? Am I a consecrated person? You have doubt? You think I am a consecrated person? So according to her definition, commitment to God through evangelical counsel. Don't I practice the evangelical counsels? Am I not committed to God? Tell me. You yourself tell me, sister. Don't waste the time. Please answer me. Even if wrong, you answer me. What do you mean by what? Year of consecration is over. Sometimes we don't know what is consecrated life. Was it my year also last year?
Yes.
Surely not. The Holy Father did not intend. It was not a year for diocesan and priests. It was not a year for diocesan and priests. Religious priests. No, sister answered as almost not far from the kingdom of God. Correctly only. Huh? See, now only you are thinking about it. You are thinking about it. What is consecration? In the broad sense, all the baptized are consecrated. In the broad sense. But priests are consecrated for divine worship. To be dispensers of the mysteries of God. But then consecration in the strict technical sense, juridical sense, refers to people who are professing the evangelical counsels. Professing the evangelical counsel. Profession of evangelical counsels of chastity, poverty and obedience. All those who profess the evangelical counsels are called consecrated persons in the strict sense. In the strict sense. In the broad sense, all are consecrated. Consecrated, set apart for a particular purpose. And set apart like that. So you should know consecration specially refers to profession. So who in the church profess? Members of religious institutes and the secular institutes make profession. Members of religious institutes and the secular institutes make this profession. What is the difference between their profession? The religious institute members make public vows. Public vows. But secular institute members do not make public vows. Do not make, it may be private, they call it other sacred bonds. Matra punidar pinaipugal in Tamil we say. I mean, in other words, it is not as radical, as demanding as the religious institutes. They also profess the evangelical councils, but then it doesn't, other sacred bonds, but they profess the evangelical councils. So, when we speak of institutes of consecrated life, it refers to two categories of persons: members belonging to religious institutes and secular institutes. So, Sisters of St. Joseph of Lyons is a religious institute. Sisters of St. Joseph of Lyons is a religious institute. What are the other congregation sisters here? Ursulites, also religious institute. Religious institute. Then, what other congregation? Sacred Hearts. Religious institute? Yes. Not Society of Apostolic Life. No. Sacred Hearts sisters. Any other congregation?
Benedictine.
Benedictine, of course, religious. Religious institutes. All of you are religious institutes. Religious institutes. So, public vows. So, that is the, that's why these two are called. Why this is Society of Apostolic Life? In the broad sense, it is also consecrated. They imitate the religious, but they are not bound to profess the evangelical counsels. But they follow the evangelical counsels. Their profession is not, profession of the counsels is not essential to them. But de facto, actually, many of them follow the religious. Paladin sisters, Charity sisters, or Vincent de Paul sisters. They are all societies of apostolic life, precious blood, fathers and sisters. They are all societies of apostolic life. What is important for them? It is not the profession, it is more community life, one thing. Second, apostolate. They, for the sake of the apostolate, they live community life and witness to the gospel. So this is the distinguishing mark of the Society of Apostolic Life. Society of Apostolic Life. Religious institutes, in addition, they have community life, fraternal life in common. That is another essential element. Then third essential element, separation from the world. These are the three distinguishing marks of religious institutes. Number one, profession through public vows, community life, and then, that's what community life, fraternal life in common is what is called community life. Number three is separation from the world. Please take note of it. So, what are your distinguishing marks? Separation from the world. That's why every religious have a separate habit. Because you are not to dress like worldly persons. Secondly, you also have enclosure. Some part of the community is reserved only for the members. Some part of the community is reserved only for the members. All those who are coughing and sneezing, they are all recorded also. Okay. Correct. Separation from the world. Separation from the world. See, some of the, I was telling you, the secular institute want to become religious. Some religious want to become secular. They want to dress like worldly people. And then they want to be like that. So why separation from the world? Because in the initial stage, till 313, there were the 10 persecutions, if you have studied church history. Then only Constantine was converted. Slowly Christianity became official religion. Slowly Christianity became the official religion. All were Christians, but nobody followed Christ. So, in order to save themselves, they ran to the desert and lonely places. That's how religious life started. So, first essential element is, of course, one of the essential element is separation from the world. You are in the world, but you are not of the world. You are not of the world. Some of the people say in the name of ministry and apostolate, you want to be in one with the world, one with the world. That is not the occasion. In the essential element, your apostolate doesn't come. Your apostolate of doing doesn't come. Your apostolate of being is what matters. Remember that always. Separation from the world to be united with God. Sitting at the feet of the Lord to become a meaningful Martha. That you cannot, many times problems. You may be in a community, don't take lay people anywhere and everywhere. Especially men. So you have to keep certain order, discipline. You are away from the world, separation from the world. That's important. Then, of course, very important is the fraternal life in common. Fraternal life in common. Community life. That is explained in 602. Canon 602. Canon 602. Fraternal life in common. 602 afterwards you will study. 602. Now, first of all, the three evangelical councils. I am going to explain the three evangelical councils. You know it. What are the three evangelical councils? Chastity, poverty, and obedience. Chastity and poverty and obedience. Before that, you are professing these counsels in the form of public vows. First of all, many are perpetually professed here. They have taken vows, but they do not know what is a vow. What is the definition of vow? Tell me, Father, nobody told us so far and all. Don't say. You are supposed to have been taught at the time of already temporary vows, first profession already. What is a vow? You will tell me what is a vow? Vow. Vaarthai paadu. Promise.
I believe and I will willing to pronounce to practice.
You promised. So practice what? Practice volleyball. Huh?
With my full knowledge. With the full knowledge.
With full knowledge.
I am willing to practice that.
Practice the evangelical counsel. You show your willingness there. To whom you show the willingness? To God you show willingness. So at least now those who are going to make perpetual profession soon. Well, is the date fixed? Not yet. If you are behaving properly, it may be fixed. Okay. At least they, before perpetual profession, they know the definition of vow. Canon 1191. Please write down. 1191. A vow is a deliberate and free promise. Sister said, knowingly, willingly. Deliberate and free promise made to God. A vow is a deliberate and free promise made to God concerning some good, which is possible and better. Which is possible and better. That is the first part of the definition. A vow is a deliberate and free promise made to God concerning some good which is possible and better. Should you keep the vow? Yes. So that's why second part of the canon says, the virtue of religion requires that the vow must be kept. The virtue of religion requires that the vow must be kept. So never forget this. What is a vow? You make a deliberate promise. You evaluate, you think tomorrow's gospel, for instance. Jesus is saying, if you are going to build a tower, you want to know how much it will cost. You don't begin it and then stop it halfway. So also if you want to wage war against an enemy, you first examine whether you have sufficient troops. Evaluate. Life of discipleship is not a bed of roses. Consider, reflect, then only follow. That is tomorrow's gospel. So also deliberate, knowingly. I know, these are the things. One sister who is 52 years old has come home and staying with the relatives. I asked, why sister you have come? She says, my provincial scolded me because she was headmistress of a reputed English medium school. There was a building going on. You looted the congregation property. The provincial scolded me. So I came home. She asked for dispensation. Dispensation also has come. Now she came to me, consultation. Father, I don't want to accept the dispensation. Let them extend the ex-clausation, she said. I told right at the beginning, why did you ask for dispensation? At the time, Father, I was so much disturbed, so I asked for dispensation. I asked for dispensation. Your covenant is between God and you. Did you not think that somebody will scold you? If somebody scolds you, you can go home. If the provincial scolds you, you have to come to the generalate. The general, in fact, asked her to come. She didn't come. You can't simply go home and stay. Basic common sense. Local superior scolds you. Can you simply go home and stay? Did you become a religious for the sake of local superior or provincial superior? That is the question. Deliberate problems are involved. Things are involved. You have to confront people. Are you ready to follow? It is a covenant between you and Jesus Christ. Through the mediation of the congregation. You love the founder, founders, whoever it may be. You like the charism. You have to follow. That's important. Deliberate promise. Knowingly, willingly. Free promise. Nobody forces you. The vow is invalid when it was made out of force or accepted by the superiors out of force. Deliberate and free promise. And then you are making to God. You are making to God. I also promised the evangelical councils, but then it is made to the bishop. That's all. Do you promise to lead a celibate life? I am promising to the bishop as a diocesan priest. Will you live simply? Will you imitate Christ? Will you obey me and my successors? This is a promise made to the bishop. In a way, less radical than that. Promising to God is more serious. It seems one sister refused to accept the transfer. What sister? You are not accepting the transfer. Did you not make the vow? Chastity, poverty, obedience. That sister said it seems. Father, we were reading as a group. When it came to obedience, I coughed. So I did not obey. So the companions went to the next line. Chastity, poverty and obedience. Thank God she did not cough during chastity. Thank God she did not obey and she did not cough during chastity also. But whether you cough or you don't cough, it is a deliberate promise you sign now. Deliberate promise, free promise, made to God concerning some good. Not promise to loot, not promise to lead an immoral life, not promise to go to Velangani. not promised to collect only donations simply. Concerning some good which is possible and better. Which is possible. With the grace of God, it's possible. The practice of the evangelical counsel is difficult but not impossible. Practice of the evangelical counsel is possible. We said law must command what is possible. So vow also must be concerning something which is possible. That's why this definition of vow is very important. And then vows are divided into different categories. For example, temporary vow and perpetual vow. Temporary, perpetual. Temporary vow is for a definite period of time. It requires renewal. Temporary vow, you know it. Perpetual vow made for a lifetime. Temporary vow and perpetual vow. And then also, another important distinction is, of course, public vow and private vow. What is public vow? The canon defines what is a public vow. Two requirements for a vow to become public. Some people will say vow is public when it is made publicly. No, that is not public vow. A vow is public when it is accepted in the name of the church. In the name of the church. That is it. You are no more a private person. You are a person belonging to the church. Secondly, by the lawful superior, general, provincial or their delegates, lawful superior. It is accepted by the lawful superior of the congregation. You do not make the vow to the bishop normally. It is to the lawful superior of the congregation. These are the two requirements to become a public vow. Suppose I make a vow, I also make a promise to God. If St. Joseph Lyons sisters learn their canon law properly, I come to Velakanni. It is a private vow. It is a private vow. It is not accepted in the name of the church or by the lawful superior. During my prayer, I tell God like that. Like that. So that is it. Private vow, what is public vow, what is temporary vow. Some people ask me also, what is called solemn vow and simple vow? Actually, canonically, it does not have any significance anymore after the 1984. Solemn and simple. Canon law says, if the church recognizes as solemn, it is solemn. In the old code, solemn vow was equal to monastic profession. But now that is not there. Solemn vow was equal to monastic profession in the world. Solemn vows means it was called order, religious order. Simple vow means it is called a congregation. But now this does not have any canonical significance. Solemn means church calls it solemn, very solemn, otherwise simple. Now we are more worried about whether the vow is public or private, temporary or perpetual. Temporary or perpetual. So I spoke about this vow. Now I think I should go to, before going into the details of it, I said about secular institute. What are the distinguishing marks or special qualities? One, we said profession. We already said profession of the evangelical councils, but not through public vows. Though you are not belonging to secular institute, but know it. The second qualification, they are not bound by community life. They are not bound by community life. For the sake of convenience, they stay together, formation together, imitate religious, but they are not obliged. They can stay in the hostel or anywhere, lifelong, they can stay individually, no problem. And third one, positively, secular means, what is the meaning of the word secular? Secular. Secula, seculorum, like that in Latin they will say. Secular. Secula is Latin word. Huh? No. Secular. World. Secular means world. They are in the world. Actually, this is the special occasion of the lay people. Special occasion of lay people in the sense. But here they profess and they are in the world and transform the world with the values of the gospel. By being in the world, secular means world. The meaning of the word secular is world. Secular. That's why even the diocesan priests are called secular clergy. In the sense that they are not religious. Religious are separation from the world. Diocesan priests are in the world ministering. That's why diocesan clergy are sometimes called a secular clergy. Secular clergy. So in the world, actually lay people, this also again, I go from topic to topic, but what is important is you know everything I say. The whole people of God are divided into two groups. Some are sacred ministers or clergy. I told you deacons, priests and bishops. All others are called the lay people. Some are called to be clergy, all others are lay people. In the broad sense, all the women religious are lay people because they are not clergy. But who are purely laity, strictly laity? Negative definition, not clergy, not religious. Positively, by baptism and confirmation, they participate in the mission of Christ. And then they witness in the world. By being doctors, politicians, engineers, academicians, whatever it may be. This is the definition of laity according to Lumen Gentium 31. Please learn. Lumen Gentium 31. Purely lay people are those who are not clergy, those who are not religious, and then those who participate in the mission of Christ by baptism and confirmation. Baptism and confirmation. And then finally those who are called to be in the world. They alone can transform the world. Witness in the world. They can act as a leaven. They can act as a leaven. So in that context, among the consecrated persons, one category also witnesses in the world by their very identity. That is the members of the secular institute. Secular institute. And I told you about Society of Apostolic Life already. What are the two essential things for the apostolate and the community life? So this is the broad, according to the Latin understanding, three groups of consecrated persons. Actually, strictly speaking, consecrated persons only religious and secular institute, because consecration depends on profession of the evangelical councils. I just give you a few minutes if you want to interact with me anything, please. It should not be monologue. Then sometimes people will say, Father, you alone are talking. When I ask you to talk, you keep silence. You should not keep silence.
Father, you mentioned about private vow.
Yeah. Private vow. For example, if I pass in the examination, I will shave my head. I have no care. But still, that is a private vow. It is private vow. I always say the most beautiful things God created, He did not want to cover. Then.
The secular sisters are taking private vow.
Yeah, some promises. Secular sisters, private vow. The same evangelical counsel, but it is a less radical promise. It's a promise, but then it is not public vow. It is not accepted in the name of the church.
Who accepts